you're wondering, do we know that criminal justice is spelled incorrectly on your screen? We do. Justice, last time I checked, is Justice. That is a typographical error. You'll forgive us if you please. Justice is misspelled. We apologize. I am Sherman D. Manning, joining you live on this podcast from Los Angeles, California. Sherman D. Manning joining you live from this podcast, Los Angeles, California. This is the day which the Lord hath made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Thank you for tuning in to Beat the Press. Sherman D. Manning. I am the author of 22 books, of the movie rights to that book as we speak. I am Sherman D. Manning. Listen to me. The Kardashians have a lot to hide, and there's a lot that they don't want you to know. And if you get my book, The Truth About O.J. Simpson, Race, Class, Money, and Justice, you will read some secrets about the Kardashian family, namely about Robert Kardashian. That is blockbuster information which you did not know, which no one in the public knew. Listen to me. Attorney Robert Blazier, Bob Blazier, I call him, was on the O.J. Simpson dream team with Johnny Cochran, Barry Scheck, F. Lee Bailey, etc. Bob was on the dream team in 94 and 95. Bob, in essence, knows where the bodies are buried. Okay? He knows where the bodies are buried. He's the expert on the O.J. Simpson case. Guess what Bob did today? He wrote a letter recommending my book, The Truth About O.J. Simpson, Race, Class, Money, and Justice, and recommending me as a speaker. If you would like an email copy of that letter, we can get it to you. Simply go to napsusa.org. That's www. N as in needle, A as in apple, P as in Paul, S as in Sherman, USA.org. And we will send you a copy of that letter by Bob. Now, when you have one of the lawyers on the dream team, one of the lawyers, the attorneys who defended O.J. Simpson and got him acquitted on 2 counts of murder, when you have one of those lawyers, one of the originals, not a Johnny-come-lately, but one of the originals, recommending a book, what do you think you should do? Those of you watching the FX series, The People versus O.J. Simpson, you need to stop what you're doing, go online to Amazon.com, and order a copy of The Truth About O.J. Simpson, Race, Class, Money, and Justice by yours truly, Sherman D. Manning. And I believe that you will be mesmerized, befuddled, and bemused by some of the data which is contained in that particular book. Especially some of the stuff you read about the Kardashians. Donald, the guy who wants to be your president, the guy whom I am clearly convinced is a pedophile. He raped his ex-wife. He wears fake hair. He is just as fake as his hair. I talked with a pastor today, a Caucasian pastor, who happens to be a Republican. And this pastor indicated something to me today that I have not heard up until now. Yes, I hear the siren in the back. I'm in Los Angeles. What do you expect? This is a walking podcast. This pastor indicates that he believes Donald is demon possessed. That's not coming from me now. I don't know about that. But this Republican pastor, right-wing Republican, conservative, indicated to me that he is convinced that Donald is demon possessed. Now, think about some of the things you've heard come out of his mouth. How he's made fun of the disabled. How he has demonstrated his misogynistic ways against Megyn Kelly and Rosie O'Donnell, etc. How he has been racist towards Mexicans, called blacks lazy, Think about all of the demonic things that have come out of his mouth. And perhaps you and I could at least entertain the possibility that there are at least some demonic influences at work. I just wanted to make the statement and state it as it was stated to me and leave it at that. I'm not going to try to exhaust it or anything. I'll let that stand as it is. A white Republican pastor indicated to me today that he believes Donald is demon possessed. Period. Exclamation point. We move on. Now, I apologize because thus far we've still not done making a murderer on this podcast, and we intend to do so. If I told you or indicated to you or stated to the listening audience all of the things I go through in a day as I reintegrate into society, as I try to get my groove back and pick up and start over in a town that's not mine, in a state I don't belong to, with no friends and no family in this particular city. If I told you what I went through during a daytime, you would weep for me. So, believe it or not, the only reason I don't complain is because I'm so glad to be free. And I'm so glad to be alive. And so I believe that where there's life, there's a chance. Where there's breath, there's hope. And so I'm not going to go out of my way to complain about the busyness of my days of late. But I will tell you that I just have not been able to sit down and do the Making a Murderer podcast, an issues-oriented podcast, in the manner in which I would like to do so. It is forthcoming. We will get it done. Getting that letter from Bob Blazier today recommending my book, The Truth About O.J. Simpson, Race, Class, Money, and Justice, was a feat. And I marvel at Bob's faith in me and his belief in me, and I'm very thankful and I'm humbled by it. And so I want you all to follow Bob Blazier's advice, since he was on the Dream Team and he knows the case and he's read my book and we've been friends for years. Get The Truth About O.J. Simpson, Race, Class, Money, and Justice by yours truly, Sherman D. Manning. And the D stands for Don't Mind Writing Books, okay? Get that book and let us know what you think about it. We've got to tackle this judicial system in America, this criminal justice system which is criminal but does not mete out much justice, this criminal justice system in which the rich get richer but the poor get prison. We've got to do something about it. And the main way we can do something about it is to, first of all, shine a light upon it. And in my book, The Truth About O.J. Simpson, Race, Class, Money, and Justice, I shine that light. I shine a bright light on the system and show you how the system in and of itself is criminal. How the system is based almost on mob tactics. And I'm not going to give the book away via the podcast. I'm not going to elucidate it in a verbal manner, but I will tell you that if you get this book, your entire paradigm about crime and criminal justice in this country will experience a metamorphosis, a transmogrification, and a shift. It really will. And pastors have got to get more involved. Preachers have got to get more involved. And I don't know about those of you who are listening, but I am tired of fake preachers. I really am. And I'm an apologist for the church. I'm an apologist for those of us who love the gospel. And so I'm not one of these standing on the outside who does not love the church. I love the church. And I love God even more. But I'm tired of fake preachers. And don't come to me with the all have sinned and fallen short and preachers are men and all of that. I'm an ordained member of the clergy. I know how sinful we can be. I know how wrong we can go. I know how low we can fall. I've done all of that. Been there, done that, and got a t-shirt. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about fake preachers. I am talking about preachers who don't even hardly believe in God. They picked up a Bible in order to raise an offering, and they use it as a profession, and it is not a calling. They're playing with God. And if there is a hell, and I don't know about you, but I believe it with all my heart that there is a hell and a heaven, they will bust hell wide open. They're going to hell in a handbasket, as the old folk would say. So I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of fake members of the clergy, and even those of us who are real, who really believe in God, we need to do more than we're doing. There's more to preaching. There's more to church than thumping a Bible. We need to stand up and get involved with the community. And one of the things pastors need to do is start talking about wrongful convictions and start talking about the judicial system as it is and as it ought to be. We ought to elucidate that from the pulpit, and we should do so on a consistent basis. But I talked with a preacher today who act like he didn't believe in God. He act like it was all just a plaything. He had never heard of a wrongful conviction. He believes that anybody who got convicted, they did it. He doesn't believe people change. I was so frustrated with this guy that I had to defriend him off of Facebook. That's how frustrated I was. Because listen, when I call you, I want you to elevate me. I want you to lift my spirit. I want something about you to make something inside of me want to be a better preacher, want to be a better man, want to be a better writer, want to be, this is what guys like John Burton, Bob Blazier, and Robert Sheehan do to me. When I talk to these guys, they make me want to be better. They make me want to read more, write more, study more, think more, pray more, get closer to God, get more in tune with what's going on inside of me and inside the world. And so it bothers me when I call a so-called pastor, so-called preach man, a preacher of the gospel. And in doing so, he's more carnal than the businessmen I talk to on a daily basis. And that is what happened today. I want people to be like Michael Jordan was. Michael Jordan made players play better. I don't really like him a lot personally. And I don't think he's been a stand-up guy. I don't think he's done what he should have done with his money. But that's just my opinion. But when it comes to basketball, this guy went on the court and made people play better. I used to hear his opponents say that when Michael Jordan is on the court, it made you. He forced you. He made you want to play better. When you watched him play basketball, it made you want to practice more to become a better player. And so I like to talk to pastors who make me want to do better, who make me want to act better, who when I hang up the phone with them, I say, oh man, I need to stop doing this or stop doing that. That's not God, or that's not Christ-like. That doesn't look good. That's a turn off. I like to talk to people like that. But I was talking to this carnal guy today, and he has this elevated title. And I'm not going to give him away. I'm not even going to tell you what city he was in. He could have been in Timbuktu, Memphis, Tennessee, Richmond, Virginia, wherever he was. This guy, in certain segments of the church, they have what's called elders. Okay, and above an elder is a bishop, and a bishop has a certain amount of churches. And above that, so forth and so on, so forth and so on. So this guy is above a bishop, according to his title anyway. And this higher than a bishop was lower than a bastard with his carnality, with his fleshliness, his fleshiness, if you will. Fleshliness, I guess that's a word. I'll have to look it up. But it was a turnoff. And I want to see preachers come together and begin to talk about this criminal justice system and what's happening to our people. Black people, poor white people, Hispanics. The rich get rich, the poor get prison. And the other thing, we should intervene into these prisons and tell these brothers to get educated. How many guys I met in prison who could not read above the 3rd grade level. It is sick. It is sickening. It makes your stomach turn. The thought of 30, 40, 50-year-old men. There's another siren. But this is LA, I told you. Los Angeles, California. Who could not read, write, or count. And there's something about the lack of the ability to read that affects